Jagrata, Jai Masters. The more you grow, the more you realize that you're not who you think you are. Because what a normal human being does is think who they are. That's what they do. I am this kind of person, and I believe in this, and I don't like this, and I've always liked that sort of thing, therefore that's where I should go. Those are thoughts. That's the most important part of anyone's growth, is to realize you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are things you have. They're called your thoughts. Therefore, they're not you. They're your thoughts. All right? And your thoughts come in many flavors. The main thought you have, as embarrassing as it sounds, is the thought about yourself. Doesn't mean you're selfish. It means your thoughts are about yourself. What do I like? Where do I want to go? Let's start this way. All the thoughts about your past. What happened to me? Did I like him? My first boyfriend? My ex-husband? The school I went to? Those are about you. Those are thoughts about you. Believe me, no one else is having those thoughts. Those are your thoughts. So you have thoughts that pop up in your mind, and all the thoughts about your past, pretty much all the thoughts about your past, are about you. What happened to you, what didn't happen to you, what you like, what you didn't like, what you wish had happened that didn't happen. That's just me. There's a planet out there called Mars. Those thoughts have nothing to do with that. There's another one called Jupiter. There are places all over this globe that have nothing to do with those thoughts. Like 99.9999999% of all the universe has nothing to do with those thoughts. They only have to do with you. Those are the thoughts you had about yourself. Your future, there is no future yet. If you are creating thoughts about the future, I guarantee you what they're about. What will happen to me? Will I meet the person I love? Should I get married when I'm 23 or 32? How many kids should I have? When should I have them? What job do I want to do? What will it be like? Will there be a glass ceiling? I don't want to go to one with a glass ceiling. Blah, blah, blah. You're making up in your mind something that doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. Therefore, the only place the future exists is in your thoughts. And your thoughts are going to be about you, about the future. All right? That's what they're going to be about. If you even want to think about somebody else, it'll be my relationship to somebody else. I wonder what Paul will do. He better not earn more money than I do. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. So all your thoughts about the past, pretty much, 99.9%, are about you, your past. All your thoughts about the future are about you, your future. And then your thoughts about the present are generally about, do I like it? Or do I not like it? One flavor or another. Do I want this? Do I not want this? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Is this pleasing to me? Should I keep this going? Shouldn't I? And then you build on top of that thought, if I don't like it, what should I do about it? Maybe I should call somebody. Maybe I should leave. Maybe I should move. I don't know, but I like my job. Blah, 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 blah. Is that just me, or you got this stuff going on in there? So even the thoughts about the present are about me. They're about yourself. So you will realize at some point that the mind is full of thoughts about you. That's what it is doing. Those thoughts are not you. They are thoughts. They are thoughts that you are aware of. If you learn to, you can watch the mind create thoughts. For right now, I want you inside your head, otherwise this talk will mean nothing to you, to make it say, I want you to create a thought inside your head that says hello over and over again, right now. Louder. Louder. Now make it say goodbye. Hello. All right, I just want to know, did it do it? Was hello going on inside your head? Was goodbye going on inside your head? Okay. How do you know? I swear to God, that's the most important question I will ever ask you. How do you know hello was going on inside your head? How would you answer me that? You do know, don't you? You told me it was. How do you know it was? Because you're in there, are you not? You were in there and you heard it saying hello. Did everybody got that? Like you didn't hear it with your ears, but you were aware that hello was going on in there. It was like a voice saying hello, 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 hello. We call that the voice of the mind. It's the fact that the mind has the ability to create thoughts, and believe it or not, they talk to you. You're in there. If you learn to meditate and you spend some time, you will inevitably, at some point, not constantly, don't worry about it, but inevitably enter into a state for at least a short period of time where there are no thoughts. How do you know? Because you're in there. Now, if you're in there thinking, oh, there's no thoughts. Wow, I like this. That's not no thoughts. That's a thought. That's a thought saying, I'm in here and I like it. I'm talking about the fact that the same you who's in there watching us say hello and watching us say goodbye and watching us say whatever it says can be in there and aware that there are no thoughts. And you come back from a deep meditation and inevitably somebody sits there and says, oh my God, I went into this beautiful state. I swear there were no thoughts. There were no thoughts. That's not going to impress me. What impresses me is, how do you know? How do you know there were no thoughts? It wasn't a thought that knew there were no thoughts. It was you who knew there were no thoughts. You are the consciousness, the awareness of being. And one of the things you're aware of is thoughts. Now I'm going to tell you the next step. When you made it say, hello, 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 goodbye, 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 you were aware that it did that. If I ask you a question, is that what you're always doing, making your mind say what you want it to say? Or does it have a mind of its own? Does it just all of a sudden while you're driving down the street say, God, why did she say that to me? I'm not even sure why she said that to me. Did she mean it? Was that mean? Should I get upset? And you're talking about something that happened 10 years ago, by the way. What is that? You didn't tell it to do that, did you? It didn't even dawn on you. Just all of a sudden the mind started talking about something. Does it do that? You bet it does that all the time. So there's two ways that thoughts can be created, at least two. We'll settle with two right now. One is consciously, willfully, you make it do it. I want you to see the Empire State Building right now. I want you to see Queen Mary. To a greater or lesser degree, you saw those things, didn't you? So you can visualize with your mind, and your mind can talk to you, but you can make it do what you want. You can make it say what you want it to say. You can make it see what you want it to see. But that is not what normally happens. Here's the place that I want you to check out, whether you are making your mind say something or do something or it's doing it by itself. Ready? In your shower. I've studied this for a very long time. I think the water from the shower waters the thoughts, all right? Because there's just check what is going on in your mind before you walk into the shower. And even if you decide, I'm not going to think about anything while I'm in the shower. It's really funny. That's really funny. Wait till you see when the shower's over and you get out. Have a little note there to remind yourself that you were supposed to remember, or I guess you won't otherwise. You'll be thinking about the day and what happened and what so-and-so did 5 years ago or what you're going to do 3 years from now. Instead, get out, and the note says, check out your thoughts. And they are not going to be anything like they were when you walked in the shower, and you did not decide what you can think about in the shower. All right? So there are two ways your thoughts happen. One is through conscious will, volition. You have the ability to make it do what you want. And the second is it just does it on its own. It's on autopilot. And that is the most fascinating. In terms of the thoughts that you create, that's your business. I'm not going to touch those. It's your business. Create the thoughts you want to create. Have fun. You want to do math? Do math. Einstein created thoughts. Any of you ever studied the life of Einstein? The majority, practically all, of Einstein's great theories and great discoveries did not come from reading books, did not come from the math board. They came from sitting in his easy chair and having what he called thought experiments. That's what he called them, thought experiments. And he would go into outer space where there was no gravity, where there was nothing, and he would get in an elevator. He liked elevators in space. There were no elevators in space. In his mind, there was, all right? He'd get into an elevator, and he would drop at the speed of light in the elevator, and he'd make believe he was inside the elevator. This is how he came up with his theory of gravity. It blew the world away, Einstein's general theory of relativity, of gravity. He got in an elevator. I'll play with you so you can see how he did with his mind. He got in an elevator, and he started falling downward. Well, do you know if an elevator, if you were in it, started falling downward, you might float. You'd float because it's going down. If you found yourself floating, then all of a sudden found yourself down on the floor, being pulled down on the floor, something must have changed. Something happened. And he postulated in his mind, he's just creating these thoughts, that one of two things happened. Either the elevator started going up. I don't know. I'm inside the elevator. I don't know what it's doing. If it started going up, I would be on the floor, wouldn't I? Or I came into the area of a large gravitational pull and it pulled me down. And he contemplated and contemplated and contemplated for prolonged periods of time. And he decided there was no way for him to figure out which it was. Unless he was outside the elevator, he wouldn't know the difference. How would you know the difference? It was one of those two things. And because of that, he said, since I don't know, who says gravity is what we think it is? Maybe gravity is something's pulling up. And it has nothing to do with a mass object pulling you into it. Maybe it's just the force of motion, of acceleration happening, like when you get thrown against an airplane seat when it's taking off. Is that gravity? No, it's acceleration. You can't tell the difference. And he then took that. I'm telling you the truth. I like putting this in your head so you can go study it. He took that, and you know what he did with that? He said, well, maybe they're wrong. Maybe it's not true that the earth is pulling you to it. Maybe the entire concept of gravity is not that there's a force pulling you to it. Maybe there's acceleration happening somewheres, and you're being pushed in the opposite direction of the acceleration. And he was right. He blew away all the theories of gravity, and Einstein's theory of gravity says that a mass, I'll go just get it to you since we did it, right? A mass object, the larger the mass, it will actually bend what he calls time-space, the continuum in which everything exists. We just thought it was neutral. He said, no, time-space can bend. So if a mass is in time-space, in the universe of time-space will bend, and then everything coming near it will fall down toward it, like a bowling ball, a giant ball on a trampoline. On a trampoline, anything you put on it, the marble is going to go to the middle, isn't it? He literally said that's what gravity is. And every single thing we ever did from that moment forward proved that he was right. That gravity is not a force like magnetism, that mass is pulling things towards it. It is that mass bent time-space so that anything coming through time-space toward the mass will start to circle around like in a drain, and that acceleration is what you feel is gravity. He blew everybody's mind. It took years for them to agree he was right, all right? But every single thing he postulated turned out right if that was what gravity is. I wasn't here to teach you about the general theory of relativity, all right? I was here to teach you that he did that in his head. He then came down to the blackboard and figured out the math. It is not that the math got him there. That's what Albert did with his mind. That's why his hair was all messed up and his clothes were all wrinkly, because he couldn't care less. He didn't do that with his mind. Oh my God, I don't look good. Will she like me? No, Albert didn't do that. Okay? So you have the ability to use your mind. Some people think I talk against the mind. I do not talk against the mind. I do not ever talk against the mind. I talk about how you use the mind. So there are two different things that happen with the mind that can make the mind talk or create thoughts. Will, volition. I showed you can do it. Einstein did it, didn't he? The mind was not doing that by itself. There was somebody in there contemplating, concentrating, using it like you'd use a computer or something. But that's not how we use our mind. Our minds use us. It just starts talking. Don't go in there. I'm not comfortable. Don't go in there. Don't go in. And you actually don't go. You decide to go to a party. You're all excited. You go with your friends. You get in there. You walk in the party and the mind goes, oh my God, George is here. I didn't think George would be here. I don't want to see George. I don't want to see George. Last time I saw George, no. Goodbye. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Go on, tell me you haven't listened to it that way. Where did those thoughts come from? Why didn't it just say, oh, George is here. Good time to make up with him. Or George is here. Good time to prove that I can handle the negativity. It can say anything. But that's not what it said, is it? It said, tell them you're sick. I don't want them to know. I don't want to see George, but I don't want anybody to know I don't want to see George. God, that's what your mind's telling you, isn't it? All right, so tell them you're sick. Tell them you don't feel well. That's all. You ate something. It really didn't sit well. I'm not going to that restaurant again. Just make a big deal out of it and get out of here. Yes or no? Where did that come from? Where did those thoughts come from? What kind of thing is that? So you realize your mind is a thought-creating machine. That's what your mind is. Your arm has qualities. Your mind has qualities. It has the ability to create thoughts. Can your hand create thoughts? Can your nose create thoughts? No, your mind creates thoughts. Guess what? Your heart can't create thoughts. Try it. Ask your heart what 4 times 2 is. But don't use your mind. Your heart cannot create thoughts. Your heart creates emotions, doesn't it? It creates feelings. That's what an emotion is, a feeling. It's a vibration that you feel. Joy, sorrow, guilt, insecurity, self-consciousness, embarrassment. Now your mind can think about those things. It can create thoughts about those things, but your heart cannot create thoughts, and your mind cannot create emotions. Your mind can make your heart create emotions. You shouldn't have done that. You know you shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, you're going to get such a... Wake up, you live in there. Let's get straight what's going on. So your mind is a device, and they call it an appliance. You know, you have blenders, you have TVs, you have vacuum cleaners, and you have a mind. You have a mind that creates thoughts. You have a heart that creates emotions. All right? Fine. I want to know Are you making them do that? And the answer is absolutely not. 99.9% of your thoughts you are not doing. They're happening by themselves. Okay. Why am I talking about this? Because it's running your life. Your mind is creating the thoughts that it decides to create, and you're in there listening to them. Just like you listen to hello. You are not your thoughts. There is not a single thought, not one single thought that your mind can create that is more you than any other thought. If your mind says, I don't know if I like him anymore, what should I do? Or your mind goes, blah, 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 blah. Same. It's just something you're aware of. Here's my mind singing, My Fair Lady, and here's my mind singing soap opera. The mind creates thoughts. You are aware of those thoughts. And the same thing with your emotions. Every emotion, some are beautiful, some are terribly difficult. None of them are you. None of them. If you are trying to find yourself, please do not look in your mind, and please do not look in your emotions. You are the one who is noticing what your mind is saying. You are the one who's noticing what your emotions are feeling. All right? Fine. Why does my mind say what it says when it says it? That'd be a nice course to take, wouldn't it? Not a single one of you took a course in school, no matter how far you went, that actually addressed that question. My mind don't shut up. How about yours? Why does it say what it says when it's saying? Why does it say I like something? Why does it say I don't like something? Do you know all of a sudden you go there and you see something, your mind goes, oh, I like that. And you actually think you like it. It's just the mind saying, I like that. Do you understand that your mind will say, I like that? Then somebody says, oh, Jack the Ripper used to own that. I don't like it so much. Well, like one more thought get inside your head, it changes its mind, doesn't it? It's completely meaningless. That's the purpose of this discussion. What that mind says when it's making up its own stuff is meaningless. It'll change in a billionth of a second. Okay, so you sit there and you ask the question. I'm going to explain it to you really quickly. Can I understand why my mind says I like something? Why it says I don't like something? Why it says I should go here? Why it says I shouldn't go there? Why does it say those things? That's different than you analyzing. Should I move to New York? Well, my income is this, and I could earn more there, but then it's snow, and I don't like that. It's okay to use your mind to do what Einstein did, to analyze, right? But that's not usually what's happening. You don't analyze whether you like something or not. You say, I like it. I don't like it. I want to go. I don't want to be here. Why does it say what it says? Because I guarantee you, everybody else says something different. You could be standing there next to something, your mind say, I really like this person. Next to you say, oh my God, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And 5 minutes later, yours says, I don't want to have anything to do with it, versus now I like it. It says it because of the impressions that were left on your mind from your past experiences. There. I said in one sentence. I guarantee you, this entire like, dislike, want, not want, preferences, the whole ball game is about your past experiences. Where else did the mind get the data to make its decision? It's not genetic. I like blue. No, something happened to you and you like blue. I don't like chartreuse. I don't like it at all. Well, somebody wasn't nice to you when they were wearing chartreuse. I don't know. Only you know. Don't try to figure it out. There are past impressions that got left on your mind. It stored it, so your mind can analyze. It can create thoughts. It can also store thoughts and store impressions, can't it? And so you stored these things in there. I can make it very sweet and short tonight. You stored these things in there. Now the world that's out there, there's a world out there, comes in through your senses, but it doesn't make it to you. You in there, I in there. It hits your stuff. It hits the stuff you stored in there, and all of a sudden it creates what's called a reaction. Reactionary impression, based upon a past experience you had that was good. All of a sudden you really oh my God, I like that. I want to go back there. I say, oh my God, Hawaii's great. I went there. Yeah, well, what happens if in Hawaii your last husband told you wanted to get divorced? That was the first time I ever said anything to you. You want to go to Hawaii? No. But it's beautiful. No, it's not. I love it. It has nothing to do with Hawaii. It has to do with the past impressions that you are carrying inside yourself. And so now the event takes place, it comes in, and you've stored these impressions, which in yoga we call samskaras. It means an impression left inside of you because of a past experience. And they used that term thousands of years ago in the Upanishads. Freud wasn't the first one to analyze this stuff, okay? So basically, these impressions from the past got stored inside of you. They become dormant. Suppressed, call it what you want. They become dormant, and now when an event happens outside that is any way associated with them, they become activated. And all of a sudden, all the emotions and all the thoughts and even the smells and the sounds from the past come up. Like the most amazing one is you walk into a kitchen and it smells like 20, 30 years ago when your mother was cooking something. And all this emotion comes over you, either good or bad, depending on mommy, all right? But basically, it comes up and people say it. So basically, the reason your mind says what it says when it says it is because of the interaction of what is going on in front of you, coming in through your senses, and what it hits from the stored past. Then your mind will say, I don't like it. I don't want to be here. Or, oh, I really like this. I want to go do this. You have a job. You finally got a job. You change jobs every month, right? You finally got one. You say, I really like this, right? And all of a sudden somebody comes up and says, oh, look, my friend became an astronaut. Oh, I always wanted to be an astronaut since I was little. Oh, my God, is that still open? What, are you crazy? What difference does it make what you thought when you were little? It matters to you, doesn't it? It shouldn't. It's meaningless. It's what you thought when you were 6. You didn't know anything at all. You hadn't had any experiences. It has nothing to do with who you are, but it stimulated that excitement that you felt when you were 6 years old. God, I gotta be an astronaut. That'd be so. And you quit your job, And this is what people do. Do you understand that? So the mind is going to create thoughts by itself as a reaction to what is going on when it hits what was stored from the past. And all of a sudden, you're going to end up with what I break down, we all break it down, into like and dislike. Does anybody know about like and dislike? You ever find yourself liking things and disliking things? You did not choose to like them or dislike them. The mind just decided to like it. And if the mind really decided to like it, the heart agreed. The heart and the mind line up pretty good. If your mind starts saying, oh my God, I'm scared, I don't like this, your heart goes, your mind goes, oh my God, that's great. Your heart goes, ah. Right? They go together. Your mind has the ability to stimulate your heart. Does it not? They tend to move together. So all of a sudden, you mind your own business. Something comes in. It stimulates a samskara, this reaction. Your mind starts thinking it, good or bad, like or dislike. Generally, that's what mind does. I like it or I don't like it. I want it or I don't want it. And the emotions start going accordingly, and you're gone. That's the end of you. By the time your mind and your emotions gang up on you, you're just in there and you're overwhelmed by either desire or fear, depending on whether you like it or don't like it, and what the mind is saying about it. And then what will happen, inevitably, a slightly higher mind, not the reactionary mind, will step in and say, what do I do about this? That's like Einstein floating through space to figure out gravity. Except you're not trying to figure out gravity. You're trying to figure out, what do I do about the fact that I'm all screwed up? It starts to run your analytical mind. One was your reactionary mind based upon your stored stuff, your reactionary heart. Now your analytical mind steps in and says, I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm not comfortable. Okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I need to find out who else drove, because I didn't drive myself. Maybe someone wants to go. I can convince them to go. What do I do? And it starts analyzing the situation and coming up with a solution. Does anybody know anything about that? We've now covered your poor mind. That's what it's going to do. And then when it leaves, it'll figure out what to say to people tomorrow to make up a lie as to why you left, like I told you, and just figure it all out. That's what it's going to do. Just sit in there and try to use your thoughts to figure this out. But what about you? What about you in there? What happened to you? You're lost. That's where most people are. They are 100% lost in what I just painted in 5 minutes, in the garbage that's going on inside that is just a reaction, and you're just lost your whole life. You're just trying to figure out how to get what you want and avoid what you don't want, and how to make it look okay, and then decide who you are. I'm the person who likes this, and the person who doesn't like this. I'm the person who got divorced from so-and-so. No, you're not. You were in there before you married so-and-so, weren't you? Then you can't be the person who got divorced from so-and-so. You're defining yourself as what happened to you, instead of defining yourself as the person who it happened to. And that's very important. I repeat that. You're defining yourself in your mind as the experiences you had, instead of defining yourself as the person who had the experiences. That's the difference. And if you define yourself as the experiences you had, you will end up with this thing that psychologists call a self-concept. What's your self-concept? My mental thought about myself. And you get in big trouble with that. Why? I'm a 23-year-old woman who is free, and I'm this and I'm that, and I got plans, and I'm not going to get married till I'm 32. OMG. The more you're defining that stuff, you're like a sitting target for getting in big trouble. Now what happens when you fall in love with somebody? God forbid. It doesn't fit your self-concept. So all of a sudden you're bifurcated. Well, I do feel love, but it doesn't fit. I'm only 23. I didn't want to get married until I was 32 because then my kids, one time I'll be 42. If there's 8 and 10, that's about the right age. But, well, people actually do that. Wow, it's adorable. So now you're struggling inside yourself because it doesn't fit your self-concept. Not to mention that you're not going to stay 23. You forgot about that, didn't you? So if you build this self-concept, what's going to go on, and the next thing you turn around, you're 55, and there's little lines showing up in your face, and they'll call varicose veins. How's that doing? No time for body surgery, makeover things, because this is not who I am. And that's why people have trouble with old age. That's why people are getting sick. So people have trouble with every single thing they do, because it doesn't fit what they made up when they were 22 years old. I think it's very funny. So this thing that is happening with the mind is what I talk against. I don't talk against the mind. The mind is brilliant. The mind is great. What are you doing with your mind? You're leaving it on autopilot, and it's just going to react to all these past experiences you had, and then you're going to formulate this whole concept. You don't just formulate a concept about yourself. You formulate a concept about everything and everybody, how they're supposed to be, don't you? What's the weather supposed to be like tomorrow? Well, let's see. I'm going camping. It's not supposed to rain. What about you? I'm planting some seeds of corn. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. You're literally defining the world. What's your wife or girlfriend's going to be like when she comes home now that you decided to do a surprise and go to the movie tonight? She's going to be in a good mood. I can't wait to... She had a terrible day. Oh boy, that's the start of a major problem, isn't it? You made up somebody that's not there. You do it all the time. You make up a you, and then you make up a world that matches you, and you get really upset when it's not that way. And if it's really not that way, sort of like I'm so-and-so married to so-and-so, and then all of a sudden there's this note when you come home, I'm not here anymore, right? Now you're in big trouble, aren't you? Just nod gently. Some of you are pretty young, but I'm asking, has it ever fallen apart on you? Has it ever literally, not, oh, this isn't what I want, but literally it collapsed, that whole thing I'm talking about, and you got very confused, and you couldn't relate to anything, and you panicked, yes or no? Just be aware that it can. I like you very much, but I'm literally going to say to you, I hope you've seen that. Even though I love you and I don't want you to have to go through that, I hope you've seen that this thing you built in there is nothing real about that thing. And the moment something goes bad enough wrong outside that doesn't match, that thing falls apart, doesn't it? You can't breathe. You can't go out of the house. You can't see anybody. You don't know how to relate to anything ever again. Why? The world's exactly the same. The sun comes up, the moon does its quarter. It's like 99.9999% of every single thing in the outside world stayed exactly the same. The trouble is you had made something up inside of yourself. You had projected it out onto the world and said, this is who I am and that's who everybody else is. And all of a sudden somebody says, surprise! Happens to people all the time. And the net result is this whole thing is balderdash. That's the mind I want to talk against. That is a misuse of your mind. To say, I'm going to use my mind to make up a me. And then make up everybody else. And then kill myself trying to make it be that way. That's why there's stress. That's why there's anxiety. It's ridiculous. And what they teach you is, oh, you just made up a bad one. Make up a better one. Make up one that's easier to live with. You made up that you want to be an astronaut. Well, that's a really hard thing to be. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be an astronaut. Well, let's not get OCD about the astronaut thing. You know, it's kind of fun to want to be an astronaut, but not like you're going to kill yourself if you can't be an astronaut. Like, come on down. You could be a businessman, or you could get married, or you could be a sailor. Or, like, there's lots of things you could be. No. They're just trying to have you define and build a self-concept that's a little easier to live with. I don't want to tell you that. I want to tell you, why are you building something that's not you? You're the one who's building it. You're the consciousness inside that is aware that you're driving yourself crazy. You are, aren't you? You know, you fell in love with somebody and they don't love you. What do I do? Oh my God, my heart's killing me. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Should I move? Oh my God, what did you do? The world is unfolding and you did that? There's a planet spinning through space. Really, it's tiny. It's like this big. It's so small. And it's just spinning through space, through black, empty space. It's circling a star 93 million miles away. And you're doing this. Why are you doing that? Why don't you just enjoy your life? Why don't you enjoy the experiences you're having? And that is the essence of what I want to talk to you about. Is there a nicer life than the garbage I just described to you? Is it really a matter of taking all these past impressions, building a model of the world based on what you like and what you don't like, based on your past experiences? If you had a different past experience, you'd like somebody different. You'd want a different kind of house. No, I don't want a kitchen like that. Why? My mother had a kitchen like that. No. I hated going in there. Oh, my God. Or I want a kitchen like this. Mommy had a kitchen like that. Isn't that amazing? Or no. I can't buy a house like this. Why? I told you, I had an ex, and our house was similar to this. Not exactly the same, but it had walls. You got some scars, do you? You got some impressions left in there, not so easy to live with, right? Every time I walk around and I see walls, they remind me that. Don't kid yourself. People get there, all right? So if you are not careful, I'm going to tell you how to live the higher life, but if you're not careful, the life you're going to live, in a nutshell, is as follows. All the impressions from your past that you stored inside, and I guarantee you stored the bad ones. You didn't store the white lines going by. You didn't store the trees you saw. You didn't store all the cars that drove by you. You stored the ones that hurt you. You stored the ones that were difficult for you to deal with. Because you couldn't deal with them, you pushed them away. That's how you stored them. Now, I agree that there are few things, very few, that really turned you on in your life. You stored those too. And just because I'm taking a moment, they ruin your life too. And I know you have trouble with that one. What? If you stored the bad experiences you had, then everything that reminds you of is going to bring up a bad experience. You went to a restaurant once when you were 7 years old, 8 years old, and you had some fish that was bad and you got sick. You will never, ever go to a seafood restaurant ever again for the rest of your life, perhaps. Well, that's a little extreme. You had one tiny experience, right? And it just determined the rest of your life. You dated a guy when you were 12 years old. His name was Ben. Ready? He was wonderful. He was wonderful. He treated you like gold. And before you even had your first argument, they moved. And you're left with this impression, this really nice impression of this. Now you listen to me. No, you can laugh if you want. You listen. You're now 32 years old. You've already been through a couple of relationships that didn't work out so good. And you got a good friend. Says, I got someone I want to fix you up with. Ready? I don't want to go out. I'm tired of people. I don't want to date anything. What's his name? Ben. Oh. I swear to God, that's ridiculous. It's not the same Ben, but the word Ben raises this openness, doesn't it? It's a little more like this. All of a sudden, these samskaras are running your life. And now you go and you meet the guy, he doesn't look anything like Ben. You're disappointed. Wow. So even the good things in your life screwed you up. Because now you're looking for them to happen again. I'm going to go very slow because this is a tough thing to talk to you all about. If you store nice experiences you had inside of you, you will now compare every experience you have from now on to see if it matches that. But of course it's not going to match that. Therefore you can't have other spontaneous nice experiences because they don't match. Go to Hawaii, have a great time, then decide to go to Alaska on your trip this year and watch your mind. Hawaii was better. It's cold. It's really cold. Well, yes, it's Alaska. Hawaii had trees. These just have glaciers. You will start comparing every experience you're having. If you hadn't gone to Hawaii last year and you went to Alaska this year, you might have thought it was the most beautiful thing in the whole world. So if you store nice things, they screw you up because now you can't have new nice experiences because you will compare everything against the experience you had. And if it doesn't match it, you'll judge it as not good enough. I hope you get that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have nice experiences. It means you shouldn't store them and then compare everything, judge everything against those experiences because nothing's going to be the same. See a beautiful sunset. I'm going to stop with this one. I know it's tough for you, the positive ones. Negative ones we all understand, but positive ones, what? See a beautiful sunset. I mean, really beautiful. You just turn in the corner, all of a sudden, oh my God, it's purple and this, and oh, melts you. It's like a spiritual experience. Of course it is. It caught you by surprise. It got past your mind. It got past your stuff. There were no expectations. So it literally touched the core of your being. It touched you. I'm going to beg you, do not go back and tell your friends about how beautiful it was, pack them in a car the next day, and drive to the same spot at the same time. Because I guarantee you it will be a very bad experience for you and probably for them. Even if it's not cloudy, even if it's setting, oh, there was more purple. Oh, no, it wasn't exactly like this, all right? It was... And you'll be embarrassed. You'll literally, the beautiful experience you had will turn into embarrassment. So net result is, if you store this stuff positive, then new impressions will come in, you will compare them and get disappointed that they're not matching. And so you can't have a pure experience anymore. If you store the things negative, and you have way more negative experiences, why? Why do I have more negative experiences than positive ones? Because you consider everything that isn't the way you want it to be negative. Therefore, you've had a lot of negative experiences because the probability of reality matching what you made up in your mind is slim to nil. I said it quick, but do you see why I have the right to say you have many more negative experiences than positive ones? The only ones that are positive are the ones that match what you made up. Any moment in your life, there are 800 million different things that could happen. People could say different things, wear different things, show up, not show up. Okay? How many variables are there? A lot. You made up in your mind one way. If it happens to match or come close, it's just, I loved it. It was perfect. What does that mean it was perfect? It was exactly what I wanted it to be. Not that it was perfect. I told you everything's perfect. Everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. What do you mean? It is the perfect result of all the forces that cause it to be the way it is. And those are a lot of forces, aren't there? The history, time, space, everything connected together, all of physics, chemistry, psychology, all of science interacting together are the influences that cause the moment to be the way it is. If I took one person, they're right there, why is she here right now in that seat? Oh my God, I spent my entire life analyzing what all the forces were that made her think the way she does, be the way she is, come at the exact time that she did when nobody else said. The formula would be, 7 billion simultaneous equations. So it is perfect. The perfect result of all the forces that made it be that way. It's almost like by definition, isn't it? See, it is perfect. That's not what you mean by perfect. That's not what you mean. You mean it matched me. It matched what I made up. I made up all this stuff in my mind about how I wanted it to be, and it was. Oh, my God. Well, how often does that happen? Okay? Now, I got to so neat you're listening to this. Therefore, it doesn't happen very often. Therefore, you don't have very many perfect moments, do you? How many times does it not match everything you made up? That's why you have more negative experiences. It's very deep what we just shared. So it's because you're defining the experiences as negative if they don't match what you wanted. And you're defining them as positive if they do match what you wanted. The world doesn't even know what you wanted and it couldn't care less. You are not a factor in this thing, all right? There's 13.8 billion years of forces that cause things to be the way they are, aren't there? And you just made up something. I just think that's hilarious. So now you understand why there are more negative impressions than positive ones. That's deep, isn't it? No one looks at it this way. It's not that your mind is negative. It's that you filtered out and defined everything as negative and stored that inside your mind. Now, if you have all those experiences that didn't work out well, of course you're scared you're going to get rejected. Of course you're scared she might not like you. Of course you're scared to give a public talk. Of course you're scared to put your shirt on because it may not match what other people are wearing. Of course you're scared. Of course you're scared. Of course you're scared. Of course you're scared. Because you've had all these impressions that have left negative things on you and you don't want to have them again, do you? So you have a conversation with somebody. Watch it. And you watch it from now on. Have a conversation with a friend, anybody, anything, teacher, anything. Then walk away. See if the conversation stops. Or see whether your mind says, oh my God, I was doing good till I said that. Why did I say that? What's he going to think about what I said? I don't know. Should I call him back? No, I probably shouldn't call him back. That doesn't usually work out. That's why. Remember, I was answering the question, why does the mind on autopilot create a mess inside my head? That's why. Now, you have a choice. Whew, I do? Yeah, that doesn't sound like much fun to live like that. It's not. But if I work hard, no. What you mean if I work hard is I got this mess inside my mind, then I use my analytical mind, my Einstein mind, to figure out how everybody and everything needs to be so it matches my mess. That's what you're doing in your analytical mind. Right? What do I need to do? How much money do I need to make? Who do I need to marry? When? What? You build all that. Now I need to go out and make it happen. Well, I hope you're having fun. Because you're not God. And I don't know who told you were, But the universe is the result of 13.8 billion years of forces interacting together to create the moment that's in front of you, isn't it? How exactly are you going to make it be what you made up? Well, I'm going to clue you in. You're not. Right? And that's where stress and anxiety and midlife crises and all the psychological garbage, which everybody is overwhelmed with, goes on. So if you want to, you can live like that. I don't think you want to. There is another way to live, a whole other way to live. Complete paradigm shift. What is that? Ready? It's really very simple. It took me a long time to talk about it. That's garbage. Here it is to talk about it the other way. You in there? Hi. You in there? You in there? Hello? Okay. You're in there? Be you. Be you. How do I be me? You be the consciousness that is aware that your mind is about as sick as they come. All right? And you are fully aware that it does exactly what Mickey said it did, ad nauseum, right? Because it doesn't ever stop doing it. It just does it. When you can't fall asleep at night, check out why. Because it's still doing it. So your net result, you be you, and you notice that your mind is broken. Of course it's broken. Look what you did. You stored all that garbage, and then you developed a concept of the world that matches your garbage, and I don't do it again. Stop it. That's the way out. What do you mean? Be you, notice the mind doing this, and realize I am not my mind. This is something my mind is doing. It is a broken appliance. It is doing this. All right? I'm going to do it very deep. Can you get out? Yes. Repeat that question. Can you get out? Yes. What is out like? Can we talk about that for a moment? How would you like to wake up in the morning and giggle? No, literally. You wake up in the morning, wow, I wonder what will happen today. I'm sitting on a planet, spinning in the middle of nowhere. Things are going to happen in front of me. It's a happening place. They've happened every moment. There's things in front of me. I can't wait to see what it's going to be. This is so exciting. This is just, oh my God, I get to go to work. I get to brush my teeth. I get a breakfast. Oh boy, breakfast. It doesn't matter what it is. I just get a breakfast. All right? And you just have a good, the Bible says, lest ye be as little children. That's what it's talking about. Why are you not having fun? A kid can have fun with a rock and a stick and can sit up there for hours, play with the rock and the stick and giggle and laugh and play. You can't play with going to work and having a computer or doing a thing or being a nurse or whatever that's going on, right? And then drive your car. You get to drive a car. Kids don't even get to drive a car. I told you, this is how negative. You don't realize why you can't enjoy your life. Have you ever gotten into your car, put your key in, turned it, and had it go, and not start? All right? Is that a positive or negative experience? That's a negative experience. Not only do you not enjoy it, you worry about it, and you remember it. Next time you get in your car, I hope it starts. It's just a negative thing. Fair enough? All right. Now, let me ask you this question. Have you ever gotten into your car, put your key in the hole, turned it, and went, and started running? Was that a positive experience? No. You just took it for granted. You didn't think anything of it. Why don't you get in the car? I do this. It's natural to me. I literally find him taking his key, and it's dark, it's night, taking his key, and it actually goes. Do you ever see how easy it is to get into that hole? That hole is exactly right. It fits only, there's no play at all. He goes, boom, and it goes in. I get all excited. I said, well, he got it in the hole. Wow. He gets an award. He gets an award. He got it in there. All right. If you couldn't get it in there, you wouldn't feel so good. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm getting old. I'm losing my coordination. I better call the doctor. We make a big deal of the fact you can't get it in. You don't do a single thing to congratulate yourself when you get it in. I think you need to change your attitude. I think you need to put it in the hole. Boy, was it neat. And then you turn it. Hey, it started. Wow. I mean, my car, I like my car so much. I used to get a car every few years. I've had this car 12 years. Got 150,000 miles on it. And it still starts perfectly and just like the day it was new. Of course, I get excited about that. I thank it. I said, what a wonderful car. What a nice thing to do, to be able to drive so well and do that, right? Do you do that? Start doing it. Use your mind consciously and say, oh, mind. Just sit down. Oh, mind. Oh, mind. We're going to have a sit down. From now on, we're going to enjoy the things that happen to us. But now, shut up. It's your mind. So why not realize that you are in charge of your mind? You can't just let the thing run. You don't let your car drive itself. You don't just go down the road and all of a sudden let go of the wheel and jump in the back seat and check something out. You wouldn't even think about it. You let your mind run itself. Don't you? It thinks whatever it wants to think. And you just sit there and associate yourself with it. That's crazy. It's literally crazy. Somebody's going to see, oh my God, how did I make it this far if I did that? And so you decide, it's my mind. I am going to decide what it thinks. Wow. It's your mind. Decide what it thinks. Think nice things. That's your starting position. Would you rather like something or not like? Let's get this straight. Let's say you have something, food gets put in front of you, a person gets put in front of you, a car gets put in front of you, and let's say your mind says, oh, I like this. I like this. This is exactly what I like. How you doing? Feeling good or bad? Let's say it says, I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm not even comfortable with it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be near it anymore. How you feeling? So if you like something, it's a much nicer experience, isn't it? If you don't like something, it's a yicky experience. Like it. Oh, I get to choose? Of course you get to choose. It's your mind. It's your heart. You're the one who lives in there. You just ceded the control to your past experiences making the garbage I talked to you about. Do you understand that you can work with yourself to like something? It doesn't have to be this spontaneous, stupid thing just based upon your past experiences. I guarantee you, if you had that 12-year-old experience with Ben, and somebody said to you, oh, I'm going to pick up a blind date, and somebody named Ben, and you had a good experience, the probability of you being excited and thinking this may work out is way higher than if Ben turned out to dump you and you had a worst terrible thing and everyone made fun of you in the 12th grade. You ain't going out with another Ben. This I can tell you right now. All of your past impressions have determined whether you're going to like something or not. It does not have to be that way. In fact, it should not be that way. This is your life. This is your world. So you start working with yourself. Can you learn to like things? Let me ask you a question. And you play an instrument, piano, instrument, guitar, anything. First time you sat down, how good you do? First time you ever sat down, how good you do? Not so good, right? Did you say to yourself, I guess I'm no good. I tried the piano, I wasn't any good. No, you don't do that. You have this concept that you're capable of learning things. And so you bother to put out the effort to learn to play the piano. You bother to put out the effort to learn math. You bother to put out the effort to learn how to play a sport. Why would you not put out the effort and understand you can learn to like things? You can learn to enjoy your life. Instead of saying, my life will only be enjoyable if it's exactly the way that my past impressions match. That is the most spiritual thing you will ever learn. It is your mind. Work with it. That's all meditation is. That's all mantra is. That's what all these spiritual techniques are, is saying, you in there? Instead of your mind saying, I don't like that, pick a mantra. Pick something nice. Here, make your mantra be like, I like this. I like that. Very nice mantra. It's positive affirmation. I like this. Boss comes down and says, you over there, stop doing what you're doing. Go right over there and do this thing that you hate doing. What? Wait a second. You're learning to play tennis. You learn to play tennis. All of a sudden, a coach walks in and says, hey, we happen to have a pro. McEnroe is here. And he said, I want to hit some balls with a novice. Would you like to hit some balls with him? But that's just exactly as your boss coming down saying, do this thing you don't know how to do. And I'm going to pull you off what you know how to do. And you want to be challenged? Why don't you just say it's fun? It's fun. It's all fun. Everything's fun. I got into my car. I had to go to work. I was in a rush. It didn't start. That's fun. I'm going to have a day different than I thought it was going to be. It's a grab bag. It's an exciting day. I get to learn all kinds of things. It is your choice to make something great of yourself. And great doesn't mean how much money you have in the stupid bank and then worry about what the market's doing every day. That's not great. You know how you know it's great? It's not dependent upon anything outside of you. Go on, have a whole bunch of money, have a wonderful house, and have a beautiful wife or husband, and tell me you're doing great. What if she dies? What if the house burns down? What if you invest with Bernie Madoff and he makes off with all your money? How you doing? Your greatness, if it's dependent upon something that can come and go, that ain't so great, right? It's conditional, it's tenuous, it's temporal. Greatness means, I'm in here. You in there? I'm in here. It's my house. It's my house. I live in here. It's my house. It's going to be nice. Why? Because I said so. You got some work to do. Yes, I got some work to do. But the work I do in here pays off forever. If I can learn to enjoy things, even bad things, even things that don't go my way, if I think that's challenging, if I have a job and they give me a coworker who's kind of hard to get along with, and instead of complaining, I sit there and say, now there's a challenge. I thought I had my act together until she started working with me. See if I can get above this one. And all of a sudden you're having, it's like playing tennis with somebody who's better than you. challenges you. When you get to the point that nothing can take you down, nothing. Why? Because you decided nothing is going to take me down. I am going to open my heart and enjoy my life. Why? Because the alternative is absurd. That's the only why I need. The alternative to opening my life and being inspired and enjoying whatever's happening with my life is that I don't enjoy my life. And I only got one, and it's short, and I'm going to enjoy the thing. You get to decide that. So you decide, and I haven't given you specific techniques. I gave you the highest technique, intention. The Buddhists literally say that intention is the highest technique. Then you can go worry about meditating and doing this and that. Do you see why? My intention is to stop drinking. Well, then you stand a chance. I don't have an intention to stop drinking. Would you give me some techniques? You don't stand a chance, do you? So if your intention is, I want to learn to be beautiful. I want to learn to look at everything as exciting. It's all happening on a little planet spin in the middle of nowhere. Would you rather be on Mars? That's what you need to say every single time something happens. Would you rather be on Mars? Nothing happening on Mars. It's just a bunch of dirt. The answer is no. I'd rather be here going through a divorce. Let's see if I can have fun with it. That's when you're challenged. Then you make something great of yourself. That's spirituality. And I'm telling you, if you will work with your mind, your heart will follow. Just like your heart follows the mind now. So all of a sudden, oh, the car started. Your heart will go, woo. Oh, wow, she said hello to me. It doesn't have to be this one person. The 7 billion people on the planet Earth. If any of them notice me, that's exciting, right? I want you to set up a win-win. I really care about you. I want you to set up a win-win situation that no matter what happens to you, it turns you on. Wouldn't that be fun? I told you, you wake up in the morning, I'm back! And then you just go about your business, making it exciting, enthused, and so on. And if it challenges you, I love to be challenged. And if it goes your way, wow, it's a blessing, it's wonderful. And just enjoy every single second of every single moment of every day of your life. Now you're doing well. And notice, it's up to you. Don't ever say, I can't because my car didn't. I can't because I don't have any money. I can't. You're the one who decides the quality of your life, based upon what you're doing with your thoughts and what they're doing to your heart. All right? And then ultimately, I'm telling you, you have no idea how high you can get. Because that's a high when the mind's not negative. That's kind of nice. It's kind of rare. That's a high when the heart's open. That's kind of nice. When your mind stops giving you a hard time, which will take a while, okay, but you do it a little at a time. When your mind starts giving you a hard time, and when your heart stops giving you a hard time and is always open and feeding you, all of a sudden you'll realize, I'm in here, and I'm actually in here, and I'm not being drawn into my mind because it's not giving me a hard time. I'm not being drawn into all the problems of my heart because there aren't any. So now you're not being distracted from what we call the seat of self. Now I'm going to get spiritual on you. You in there are very high. But the trouble is you're focusing on a mind that's not very high and a heart that is so neurotic it's ridiculous. But you, the consciousness, are very high. And what will happen naturally when your mind stops pulling you down into its melodrama and the heart stops hurting and freaking you out is you will very naturally realize, I'm in here. And you will start to experience the nature of your own being instead of experience the nature of a neurotic mind. And the nature of your own being. For the ancient scriptures, it says the nature of self is Satchidananda, eternal, conscious ecstasy. You will just start feeling joy. I mean, joy beyond anything you've ever felt, beyond intimacy, beyond winning the lottery. All of a sudden, just waves of joy, of uplifting, high joy will start welling up inside of you. What? That's your nature. That is the nature of self. You is in there. Hi, you in there? You in there. You go back to that state, and you will understand every single thing Buddha talked about, Nirvana, everything Christ talked about, my Father and I are one, everything all the great ones talked about. So this ability to transcend the negativity and the pull of the mind and the disturbed heart in order to liberate yourself, untether yourself, then it goes up way higher than anything we talked about. But your work is, are you willing to, instead of work on everybody else, to work on yourself? You see the difference? Right now, for you to be okay, she better be the way you want and everything better be exactly the way you want. Instead, work on yourself. And all of a sudden, everything will fall into place. All right, very good. Jai Gurudev.